Welcome to the first part of a discussion on feed processing. Throughout the feed processing series, we're going to be taking a look at the importance of feed processing, talk about defining methods of processing, outline some of the basic milling equipment and their roles in the processing side of things, and talk about some of the basic methods of processing, which species specific methods we use, and a little bit of a discussion on the economics of feed processing. Feed processing is extremely important. It can do a lot of different things for livestock managers. First and foremost, it can improve palatability, or the taste or how the animals eat the actual feed. It can improve digestibility, but it also increases passage rate, so it may not stay in the GI tract long enough for maximum digestion, but you still may see a net increase in digestibility. A lot of times, what processing does is it improves handling and makes it easier to store a feed than in the raw form. Another thing it can do is inactivate some toxins or harmful factors. One thing when we're talking about processing, heating is very, very important. Heating can act as a sterilization. It can alter the chemistry to some extent of the feed and activate some compounds. You've got to be careful though that you don't heat it up too much because it can bind up some nutrients in the feed. An example of a feed that has to be heat treated is soybeans. Soybeans actually contain a inhibitor, and one of the things for trypsin, which is an enzyme that helps digest protein. And so one thing is to deactivate this trypsin inhibitor, we have to heat treat our soybeans. Another common method of processing is grinding and pelleting. And one thing that grinding and pelleting does is it reduces the particle size of a feed, allowing for increased surface area. You chop something up into more pieces, you increase surface area for digestion. As a result, if retention time in the GI tract is the same, digestibility actually increases. Furthermore, grinding and pelleting can reduce sorting and can even mask some non-palatable ingredients in the feed. Let's watch a short video. Next, we're going to watch a video from the California Grain and Feed Association that is about 10 minutes in length, but it's going to outline kind of some careers in the California feed industry and just give you a good overview about what feed processing is all about and the industry involved.
Travis is putting his talents and training to good use in a job he loves. Matt is a commodities trader who can see how his everyday actions make a difference in the lives of people around the world. Megan believes her opportunities for advancement are unlimited. Tim enjoys working on the cutting edge of technology. And Jeff is an engineer who takes pride in seeing his ideas implemented into the manufacturing process. 5 very different people with varied skills, yet they're all part of one vibrant industry that has major impact on the global economy. They're all engaged and thriving in California's grain and feed industry. Surprised? You shouldn't be. Production of grains and feeds in California represents a $5 billion industry that has major impact on the world's food supply. It's all part of California's massive agricultural output. California has been the country's leading producer of agricultural products for more than 50 consecutive years, with an estimated $50 billion worth of agricultural products produced each year. With the world population bloating and consumption of food growing even faster, the California grain and feed industry is on an upward trend with no end in sight. Because this industry represents the food supply that feeds the food supply that feeds the world. No wonder then that the industry is always on the lookout for motivated, bright young people who are seeking careers that are rewarding in both the salaries they earn and in the contributions they can make in feeding a hungry world. Is there a place for you in the California ag industry? Travis Taylor certainly has found his. He's a sales manager with TPI Industries in Madera, California.
I think I've always considered California as the Silicon Valley of agriculture. I wanted to be where most of the action was happening. I knew that California was the #1 ag state in the United States. whether it be what has to be required to make an operation sustainable or what it takes to innovate, happens nowhere else in the United States as far as I'm concerned.
There are so many opportunities in the California grain and feed industry because it's comprised of many diverse businesses. California is the nation's leading dairy state. A producing dairy cow eats about 20 pounds of grain and 75 pounds of forage every day. The state is also a top producer of beef cattle, hogs, and poultry. In 2012, over 265 million chickens were processed in California. That takes a lot of grains like corn, wheat, milo, and hay. But these grains are only the tip of the iceberg. Byproducts from other California produce also serve as valuable feeds. For instance, as the world leader in almond production, California has a ready supply of almond hulls that serve as valuable livestock feed. The same is true of whole cottonseed, beet pulp, sunflower meal, and carrot mash. The list goes on and on. In fact, there are more crop categories in California than in all of the other states combined. Bringing these products to markets all over the world is the job of Matt Creighton of JD High School.
What gets me excited about coming to work every day is that I am part of the global food supply chain, where I am buying product, whether it's in Texas or Tennessee or the Carolinas, bringing it to California. And those are going to beef cattle, dairy cattle, which will later become, steaks or hamburgers for dinner, or milk or ice cream in your freezer. The part that I enjoy is having a real stake in the game and feeling like I am helping to feed not just California, but the nation and the world.
Okay, so you're not a rancher, grower, or trader. Where's your niche in the feed and grain industry? Well, once again, the list is endless. The industry needs accountants, IT specialists, logistics managers, researchers and technologists in ethanol production, nutritionists, academics, sales professionals, marketing and government relations specialists. College majors include everything from agricultural engineering, economics and business administration, to packaging, environmental protection, and entrepreneurship. It takes a lot of talented, committed people with a variety of skills to produce, process, market, and deliver California's grains and feeds. One of those people is Jeff Holland of New West Milling.
The California Feed Mill is an entity that produces feed for livestock. We're basically bringing in ingredients, further processing them, and then blending them into a homogeneous mix for the species that it's intended to be fed to. What excites me about my job is I work for a great company. We're part of basically feeding the world, making sure that the livestock feed that we produce is safe and wholesome for its intended species. And in turn, what that does is provides a safe and wholesome product for the consumer.
Because California is the leader in agricultural production, it's also ground zero for innovation. Another of California's flourishing agribusinesses is ethanol production. Tim Murillo is plant manager at Calgren Renewable Fuels.
To produce ethanol, we use grains such as corn and milo, adding water, enzymes, which we then ferment. At that point, it is sent to our distillation and evaporation process, where we recover alcohol, and what we're left with is spent mash, which we use as WDG. We extract oil, which is used in the poultry industry and biodiesel industries.
Whether the end consumer is an Angus steer or a thirsty SUV, there's no shortage of markets for California grain and feed products, and that means opportunities abound. Megan Abati found hers at Associated Feed.
What is absolutely fantastic about being a commodities merchant for the California grain and feed industry is that it's different every single day. There's a new challenge that we walk into every day, something different, and it just keeps it fresh and exciting. It's long been the perception that the California grain and feed industry is a male-dominated industry, but the opportunities for women are abundant. Women just have to be willing to step in and take advantage of those opportunities and challenge themselves to break down the barriers of gender and be a part of a company and advance and work hard to get there.
As pointed out earlier, the opportunities in the grain and feed industry are varied, and the financial rewards are considerable. College graduates will find a variety of jobs that offer impressive earning potential, from dispatchers at $4,500 per month, nutritionists at $7,200 a month, to general managers at an average salary of more than $11,000 a month. With the unquenchable demand provided by ever-growing animal and human populations, the industry and the compensation paid its key people show no sign of diminishing. Dr. Frank Mitliner of UC Davis projects a bright future.
What we see here is a dramatic increase in the demand for eggs, meat, and milk throughout the world. Actually, a doubling of demand for these products within the next 30 years. Our challenge is, how do we do this? Well, we have learned in this country how to do it. Today versus 50 years ago, we are producing twice as much beef with half the number of cattle. Today we produce twice as much milk with half the number of cows than we did 50 years ago. Society cares about how we produce our food, and you can teach society how to produce our food efficiently, profitable, and also without depleting natural resources and while being humane to animals.
In your relatively short lifetime, you've already observed how fluctuations in financial and labor markets can drastically affect the employment outlook in various industries. Careers that were once viewed as safe have all but vanished. So, as you prepare to make important career decisions in your life, you'll be looking at the long-term prospects of an industry. If you do that, the California grain and feed industry will emerge as a very attractive option.
For graduating college students, entry into the California grain and feed industry would be an excellent choice, full of opportunities and potential for career advancement.
And our industry requires people that are knowledgeable and can think on their feet, whether they're in a pen of cattle or at a manufacturing facility in a meeting room.
I never thought I would end up in the grain industry. I knew that I was destined for a job that dealt with animals and nutrition. And fresh out of college, I was an animal science major with a nutrition focus. And I got wind of the job and came in for the interview, hired on as a commodities merchant, and the possibilities have just become endless. It's a great industry to be a part of, and I'm glad I ended up here.
If you're looking for a career that offers excellent compensation today and bright prospects in the long term, you won't find a better place to start your search than the California grain and feed industry. And you'll also get a perk that you don't find often these days, a higher purpose. Come join the California grain and feed industry and feed the world.